Welcome back to our continuing video series on Is It Time for a Change? Today we have with us Chris Basom. Chris is an income tax preparer. He has years of experience and a creative bent to make sure that Uncle Sam gets legally what he is owed, but not a penny more. I have a lot of clients of mine that are asking two sets of questions. There's the new 2018 tax code. How is that going to affect me when I file my income taxes in 2019? And also, we're considering a move either out of Orange County or out of the state of California completely. And how do the tax consequences affect those moves? So thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
I have clients of mine, Chris, that are over 55 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They have low property taxes here in Orange County because they've maybe lived in their home 20, 30, maybe 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when they want to take those property taxes with them, either within other areas of Orange County or with cooperating counties within the state of California? What are the rules?
Well, the rules are really pretty basic. The things to watch for, there are 12 participating counties. 12 of them. And luckily, in Orange County, San Diego, Riverside, Los Angeles are all part of that. San Bernardino not. But Kern County and then up in through Central California into Northern California. So you can take that property tax basis with you. The important thing to know is the limits on increased value of the purchase price. So we can't sell a $1 million house here, buy a $5 million house someplace else, and have that same thing, that same property tax base. It's not going to work that way. It's got to be within 110% of our sale price, not your original basis, but the sale price. So we've got to keep it close. But for most of us, that's not hard to do. So it's definitely possible.
That does make sense, and especially a lot of times people are looking to downsize their monthly
Mm-hmm.
outgo of payment.
Right.
So in other words, if I recap that, if they sell something, say for $800,000, they can buy up to $880
Yes.
in one of these cooperating counties. If you're interested in the list of cooperating counties in California, just call me or email me and I'll make sure to get you that cooperating county list. So what happens when people want to move out of California? I have people telling me that there are states actually in the United States that have no state income tax. And that seems to be high on people's radar screen because I just heard this morning that our state income tax is #1 in the country. All 49 other states are less than ours. So which states, Chris, have no income tax for the state, have low property taxes, and in a perfect world have both?
Well, in a perfect world, that's the way to say that because there are no states with both. Okay. But we do have several states that have no state income tax. So it really depends on what's more important to you. Obviously, you're going to pay income tax every year. You will pay property tax every year, but your property values in most states, not California, but in most states, are much lower. So even if you have a property tax rate, it's not as bad as what you'd pay in California because of the valuation of the properties. As far as income taxes go, Alaska, Florida, Nevada, South Dakota, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming have no income taxes whatsoever. And that's, of course, not based on California income, which is, I think a consideration as well, but income in retirement generated while you're living in those states. The property tax rates, the lowest rates that there are, seem to be around 0.5%, and there are several different states that have around 0.5% instead of our 1.1 to whatever in California, and those are Hawaii, Alabama, Louisiana, Delaware, the District of Columbia, South Carolina, and West Virginia. Now, many of those states have property values much lower than California. So even if you've got 0.5% property tax on a $300,000 property, much better than a 1.1% on a $500,000 property here in California.
Well, you bring up a good point about the affordability and the fact that houses overall in other parts of the country are definitely less expensive. You touched on something, so this is my final question, Chris, is that if people earn their income within the state that they're residing, let's say they move to one of these states that does not have any state income tax, like Texas or Florida or Nevada, but they have income that is generated in California. Let's say they own 1 or 2 rental properties here, and maybe they own it free and clear, the tenants pay rent, they get some income. How is that income handled if they're living in one of these non-state income tax states?
California has gotten very good at tracking the owner of the property. So let's say they lived in California, they bought a couple of rental properties, they relocated to Nevada, so they have no state income tax any longer, but they maintain property in California that they rent. California still gets a tax return for that rental income. So we'd be filing a non-resident California tax return, paying taxes on that rental income, and then in Nevada for, in fact, no state income tax, so no state return for all the rest of their income.
Interesting. Okay, so it's a 2 income, state income tax process for
Yes.
that. Alrighty. Chris, I know that in 2018, the tax codes have changed, and I'm really looking forward to everything you're going to provide my clients at an upcoming workshop that you're going to be presenting at. But very briefly, the state income tax that has a cap that was never capped before, what are a couple of strategies to be able to maximize your tax deductions and still do it within the law, but maximize it, not give Uncle Sam any more than he's owed?
Well, it's interesting that you ask that, because the key to understanding how to play the game is to know what the rules are first, and then you unfold that into how you strategize. So we've got some strategies that will allow you to write off things in a different place in the tax return. A place that was limited, we can move to a place that isn't limited. And a place that was excluded could become a place that isn't excluded, just depending on how you lay out the numbers. So same numbers, different presentation, they hit the return in different places and then create benefits that you would have intentionally lost by how the code's written now.
So what I'm hearing is this is not the year to do your own TurboTax. Please mark your calendars for February 27th, 7 o'clock, my office. We are going to be meeting with Chris again and his partner Kathy, and we are going to be hearing a lot more details, especially about the tax code of 2018, how that's going to affect our filing in 2019, and every other question you have under the sun. Chris will be there with his partner Kathy to answer it. So mark your calendars for February 27th. If you are starting to think about filing your tax returns for next year, please contact me. I would highly recommend Chris, and I would love to get you connected. So just give me a call, give me an email, and I'll get you Chris's contact information. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Karen.
I appreciate it. Bye-bye.